I moved to Northamptonshire on my 30th birthday, and as soon as I arrived in Northamptonshire, I was sent by a doctor in the Headlands to the general hospital for an arthrogram procedure on my right leg. Instead of performing any type of arthrogram procedure, they surgically violated me under a fluoroscopy box, which is used for implantation procedures, and they've stuck something in the top of my leg. Now, I don't know if they've damaged nerve, bisected, or seriously damaged nerve in the top of my leg quadriceps maliciously, or whether they've made a hole in the top of my leg and into that leg using the contrast assisted fluoroscopy left something embedded in the top of my leg maliciously, but it's agonizing discomfort and it's slowly wrecking my life. I thought I'd make a short video and give an insight into what's been going on here in Northamptonshire with Dr. Jonathan Hart of the Headlands General Surgery, Lakeside Healthcare at 20 The Headlands, and how he arranges for these bogus arthroscopy, arthrogram procedures to take place, whereby he can surgically violate his naive 30-year-old patients who he coerces into undergoing the aforementioned procedure. I will get back to this in a moment. So yeah, I moved to Kettering, Northamptonshire from London on my 30th birthday, and within literally 2 months of arriving in Kettering, I was coerced by Dr. Jonathan Hart, John James Hart of the Headland Surgery, into undergoing an arthrogram procedure on my right leg. Well, it was supposed to be a scan on my back to start with, is what he told me. But when first of all, I had a scan on my back, and then in the April, and then in the May of 2008, he arranged for me to undergo this arthrogram procedure. But when I arrived at Kettering General Hospital's OT operating theatre, where the fluoroscopy box is, they didn't perform an arthrogram procedure. They did something malicious to my right leg. They bored a big hole into the top of my leg whilst I was under contrast assisted fluoroscopy under the influence of regional anesthesia. So all of my leg was in a state of muscular paralysis. They laid me out in the operating theatre under a fluoroscopy box, bored a hole into the top of my leg. Then they left something, it feels like they've left something embedded in the top of my leg maliciously, or they've hit nerve, major motor nerve in the leg, in my quadriceps, affecting my right leg severely. Um, to cut a long story short, they performed this bogus arthrogram procedure, which was a double bluff procedure. And once I was at the hospital, they surgically violated me. They took, at the time, I was a match fit athlete. I trained to play professional football for 4 years. I was a cross country runner, athletic. And as soon as I arrived in Kettering, Northamptonshire on my 30th birthday, to be housed near to the Headland surgery, within a matter of 2 months, Dr. John Hart of the Headland Surgeries arranged for this bogus arthrogram procedure to take place at Kettering General Hospital. Now, ever since, it's been nearly 14 years of debilitating torture. And no matter who I go to or what I try to post on the internet about this, they censor it. They make sure nobody has any insight into the surgical malfeasance and misconduct that takes place in Kettering, Northamptonshire. And over the course of 14 years of living here, it turns out that I'm not the only person they've had surgically incapacitated, disabled as members of the disabling professions. I'm not the only victim in this town to have undergone surgical procedures at Kettering General Hospital whilst young and naive, coerced into undergoing procedures whereby um, the victim is surgically violated. It turns out there are quite a few people in this town that have been up there that have had problems of a similar nature, that have placed their trust in them, that are supposed to be undergoing diagnostics, and then when they get there, they get surgically violated by them as practitioners. Now, it turns out that some of them, as ruling class head cases, happen to be into like Freemasonry, Masonic Nazism. It's Northamptonshire, and I was told it's the crux of Aryan neo-Nazi supremacism in England, which wouldn't surprise me because of some of the things that I've seen go on here are pretty insane. Since moving from London, living here for 14 years, I've seen some pretty strange things going on with people, groups of people, and the way that they act. So to cut a long story short, I thought I'd make a quick short live stream video of how the Headland surgery with Dr. Jonathan Hart and Zoe Cardell, Phil Han, Dr. Carandish, Dr. James Tanner, along with Professor Damien Griffin, the surgeon from Coventry, that they get to butcher people at the Walsgrave Hospital, Coventry. He's another one that they operate with. How they're partaking in surgical malice, in clinical malice. They're taking the naivety of young adults who place their trust in them. They're sending them to the general hospital under the pretext that they're going there for diagnostic procedures for minor problems, and then when they get there, they're having them surgically violated with grave consequence. So say the arthrogram procedure is just a double bluff for them to set up other surgical procedures at a later date. You undergo the arthrogram, they surgically incapacitate the victim. Then 2 years later, they'll send you to Professor Damien Griffin's clinic in Coventry, whereby they might want to perform, say, like a periacetabular osteotomy operation that shouldn't need to take place. and that can be doubled up then for the removal of a kidney with BMI nephrology and the renal unit that they operate out there. So there's a load of peculiar things going on in the Midlands with the misappropriation of the surgical and clinical practice direction of general practitioners and physicians, clinicians, senior surgeons at Kettering General Hospital, Dr. Karandish, Siddiqui, others working in conjunction under the in conjunction with them, because they all seem to work together because they're interconnected as a workforce. Um, it's pretty bad. Like what they've done to me has wrecked my life. I'm limping about. I no longer have muscular contracture in the muscles in my quadriceps. It feels as though something's continuously embedded in the top of my leg, and it's agonizing discomfort to sleep. It's just a nightmare. It's the worst thing that has ever happened to me. So I thought I'd just give a quick insight into this. And if anyone wants to leave any comments regarding what takes place in Northamptonshire with the NHS or the PCT, etc., and they have been surgically violated or clinically abused in any way, leave a comment in the comments to this video, because it would be nice to hear from you. Thank you very much.